Hello, one and ball, and welcome to Conquest Clash number 3. I got that wrong the other day, but I got it right this time. Welcome. I am one of your lovely hosts, your bestie, joined as ever by the illustrious and enigmatic. Feel free to introduce yourself.
Coolbz. Wow, you gave me such a dramatic introduction. I didn't expect that.
Hi,
everybody.
It's all about the drama. And speaking of dramatic matches, we had a real, I was going to say slobber knocker, but it feels kind of gross to me, honestly, so I guess maybe something else. They had a really dramatic and wonderful, no slobber involved set between top players Ket and Arctech, some very, very prominent figures in the scene. Ket, one of the first ever to do it. And Arctech, one of the most recent winners of Bring the Heat 2. Very, very close games, really down to the wire. Arctech threatening to sweep right through, but then Ket almost bringing it back with a reverse sweep of her own before ultimately succumbing to mind damage with a somewhat mind-weak team. That is one of the unique quirks of Conquest Clash. BZ, what should the viewers watch out for in this unique and interesting format?
Yeah, this format is really unique in the sense that it is a almost Hearthstone-esque format. At least that's where I've seen this before, where it is best of 5, and the players have brought 3 to each one that they win with they can no longer use until they have won with all 3 of the teams that they've brought. Both players know every team that is in the current tournament, so there's a lot of planning, choosing which team to bring at the right time, and also having to rely on the weight of one of your final teams to clinch out the final wins and try not to spin out, requiring a lot of balance from all your teams, right?
Indeed.
There's a lot of ingenuity, there's a lot of type coverage. As our previous commentators have mentioned, some of these teams are even lacking in certain defenses, sort of just to make up for each other. It feels like the teams kind of have a full cohesion to them, depending on the player who's shown up today. And I think we're going to see some of that coming up here in the match that we're covering. Would you like to introduce us to the players that we're covering in this match?
I would be so honored, yes. Today we'll be able to feast our eyes on the lovely KingOfCharge versus Bolimar. KingOfCharge, known as I would say the ultimate beta tester of any game, loves to do broken stuff, loves to find the highest numbers possible in the game, feasible in one turn on counter serves. And is definitely living up to that name today. King of Counter Serve here with the much maligned, much discussed, confident Supalero High Five team. A roster of absolutely despicable villains in the back. Supalero giving them a little pat on the back, a little confidence boost so that they can tear through the opponent with Goofster for the assist. Next in the order, we have the Squigzag team, which is a old classic that's getting a new spin put on it. No more Exert means that Scrimmage can't cover for its weaknesses so easily, so now it is a Protean Scrimmage, using Prepared Attack to get a full rack of defensive bonuses, and then using Mimic to copy Collider and Zigzag to get some E-Pass, Tac Pass action and absolutely tear through the opponent, again with backup from Sideways and Careful Shot. And finally, a absolutely devastating one rally, all spirit, all damage, Daredillo, dodge roll, burnout, absolute daring destruction, as many D words as I can possibly fit into this sentence. Rally has been also, much talked about, much maligned in recent history, and this team is looking to show off exactly why that is. Now, of course, on the other side of the aisle there, we've got Bolimar. And BZ, if you would be so kind, would you like to talk about Bolimar and their illustrious history and their wonderful teams?
Of course, as this amazing Bandicraft by Stardust shows up on screen. We have basically a spin on the original Crimson Angels with triple starter, and then Alugus, who's also a starter, so technically quadruple starter, but now it has shifted to include different Beasties in the mix. Notably, instead of Thump, the Castle Elite has Demolish. And while the Chair has stayed the same despite balance changes, which is interesting because a lot of other people's Chair had to change, Bolimar has always kept this exact same one, and it works perfect here. We're going to see a fully supporting Gooster with Cheer, Set, and Reach Shot. Something I'm actually really interested to see because I've had to play against this, and I think it's really powerful. Topping it all off is a Majesty Yammoth sort of playing to this team's advantage of keeping everything balanced. In this day and age with Rally and everything, you do sort of just have to have a Majesty Beastie to keep Rally in line with the rest of it. So it sort of works itself out with all of the defenses, and you can see even the Beasties have a little bit of less Spirit Invest to make up for that Majesty, just really making sure the whole team is topped off. For the second team, I believe this is the Feasting team. Yes, the Divine Feast. We have Heliath with Heatwave, Comeback, and Shield, and I think that's the most notable Beastie to mention first because the rest of the team kind of plays around it. We have a Friendship Dig'em with Calming Aura, Share Snack, and Quickset. Steal stamina from opposing Beasties to add up with the Sweaty that the Heliath is providing, as well as heal it with Calming Aura or Share Snack and Quickset to up the damage of Comeback. Topping it with a Quickset, Grit, Share Snack, Dugout, sort of sharing the exact same role, probably on the lead with the Heliath, and a Smooth Bro Slidin', sort of just whooshing its way into this team, just fitting in with the Smooth, being able to sort of mitigate some of that Sweaty. A third Quickset, notably, and then demanding set on the Bandycraft with Dump and Tool. This is just set. This is a team full of volleys. The idea is just get something to the front, power it up, do enough damage, especially with the Sweaty and the determination on the Heliath, and hopefully just blow things up. And I do really like the idea of this, and I'm sure there will be even more nuance to it in practice. Finally, we're looking at Debug Ugly with Tool, Telekinesis, and Stinger, as well as Drum, Whistle, Slice, Noisard, and a Voltoxin that just has a very standard Sneak Attack, Telekinesis, Roll Shot, which is interesting after the two Voltoxins we've seen today running pass moves and Feint or Mark. This is just a very standard attacking Voltoxin, and it sort of informs what the team is about. The Voltoxin notably lacking a mind defense, but the whole rest of the team makes up for that, being a mind team and having a bunch of naturally mind powerful Beasties. So it sort of balances out in that sense, and the Voltoxin just gets to be this very standard bully, while the rest of the team makes up for the defenses. Just Telekinesis, 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 Drumpus, Hopra, healing both the notably immortal Hydrome that is sitting here, with the Clamor Noisard, who can take a hit for this entire team and then heal 12 off of the Drumpus, and then the Debugly, who can get extra defense bonuses every time it gets hit with Study. Notably, all of Charge's teams are mono forms of damage, so I think that will come in major handy here. So that's, I think, the summary of all of these teams. Do you have any thoughts on which team could maybe check which? Because I feel like Charge is running a very interesting strategy with having these full, like, hyper offense strategies, one of each type, as it's going to make it so that inevitably one of these teams has to crash into something that maybe it can't break through. And I'm wondering if that will happen or if the cheese will prevail.
Yes, indeed. I think that one of the interesting things about this format, in fact, is that if that happens, it really comes down to where Charge is in the set, at least in my opinion. If Charge gets ahead in the early game in the set, takes those first two matches, if Charge's last team, as we saw with Arctech actually, if Charge's last team is forced to, run into a wall, it can only run into that wall once, because after a team wins, it's no longer in the running. It has already won, it's already off into past the gates of Elysium, and now the rest of the teams have to scrap it out. So, say the mono body team is finding itself struggling into one of the opponents, or I guess more accurately, perhaps, this mono spirit team is finding itself struggling into Bolimar's Yammoth with Majesty on the revised Crimson Angels. That may happen for one game, and perhaps even, Bolimar takes that game, overcharge, Rally unable to account for the drop in damage from Majesty, but then that team is gone and there's no more Majesty, and Rally gets to try to wreak havoc on the rest of Bolimar's teams. So it really does pay to go up early in these sets, and so choosing that first matchup is, I would say, of vital importance. What do you think, BZ? What do you think that Charge would bring first in this? I've got my guess, but I want to hear what you think about it.
Yeah, that's a really, really good question. Because I almost feel like Bolimar's teams could come out in sequence, especially since a revised Crimson Angels is what Bolimar is sort of known for. We continue to bring up that team. There is a lot of history behind it regarding Bolimar sort of always playing a team with this Charlie as a centerpiece, running tri-typed, very balanced offense. And I think what's interesting is I could very well see these sorts of offenses going at odds with each other, because one is very using defensive moves as offensive pressure in the form of like Charge's teams like High Five, Assess, all these incredibly strong moves to put on pressure, and then Bolimar just playing a very standard offense team that could maybe break under those conditions. I think I would predict to see the Crimson Angels first, just because that is sort of the standard, or I guess the revised Crimson Angels. I keep forgetting. I think there is a name that was tagged in it, but I don't have the sheet open, so I can't see it right now. I will look it up in the middle of our set when it comes out.
Paradise is the name of the revised.
There we
go.
go.
Pretty sick name.
Yeah, that's actually really awesome. Okay, that's good. And so then we're taking a look at, I assume, that first, and then maybe this team is weaker into Mind, I want to say. The team kind of only reaches like 110 on Mind, and maybe we can see the Assess team come out and rock the floor with it. I'm not sure. Do you have any predictions?
Yeah. Very hard to say. If I had to guess, the shot over the bow, given that, winning that early point is so important, giving you a little bit of breathing room, allowing your teams to find the matchups that they want, I would bet dollars to donuts that Charge is going to run it with the Joker Arc team, this Con 5, High Five, Supalero, and its cast of nefarious characters, to take an early advantage and try to sweep through, which is, interestingly enough, what Charge's teams generally try to do. Charge, a player known for those explosive openers, teams that are not necessarily finicky in the sense that they have like a ton of moving parts, but complicated in the way that like a nuclear bomb is complicated. Like I wouldn't want to build one myself. There's a lot of dangerous elements involved. I certainly don't know how. But oh boy, is it explosive. The output is, just utter devastation. It has absolutely no fit, no like, we're going to, and then I parry here, and then I riposte, and then I...
But you do have to make sure you keep the pencil in there.
It's... Wait, now you're gonna have to explain that one to me.
Oh, it's like a complicated like nuclear bomb joke. It's like there's a whole thing with it. It's not important.
I'm not a knower. I'm not. See, that's
really bad experiments have happened.
I'm not a nuclear bomb knower, as it turns out. Unlike KingOfCharge over here. That said, this team very surprisingly resilient. Having played into it myself with a bevy of teams, all that had various counterplay. I know that Charge was saying himself that this team struggles to deal with Daredillo sometimes. Not necessarily because Daredillo is, specifically a counter to this team, but sort of a counter to, the idea that the opponent wants to have fielded Beasties with health remaining. And more notably, though, like specific counters like Goo Goo Eyes on Mischief Trap or, Intangible Mystic, this team presents itself as a, very, very straightforward, like, I'm going to either hit you really hard or I'm going to use a sideways attack you have to walk forward, you have to guess, you have to take a lot of damage. But really, this team has a lot of play with stuff like Trait Dance for a Slide-In. Charge, if I would say that Charge is known for anything, aside from, one-shotting you on counter-serve, it's this Trait Dance play. I am an aspirant, I aspire to be able to Trait Dance the way that Charge does. It is really mystifying. It is... truly impressive, because Trait Dance, you spend a turn, you spend one of your actions, one of your 3 actions in a turn, you've got 1 to attack, and generally 1 is going to be used to pass. So if you're using one of your actions in your turn to, instead of building your damage, instead of, increasing your damage output, funneling everything into those big one-shots that Charge is known for, to Trait Dance and use a turn to... it's a move that has a lot of varied uses. It really depends on what the opponent is bringing as well as what's on your own team. And finding creative applications of it is so gratifying, as well as difficult. And I think that Charge is really excellent at that in particular. So definitely look out for that in the set. If any finicky, any potentially difficult to deal with traits come up for this mono body team. Since we've now established, what we think is coming out first, what do we think about that matchup in particular, actually? Mono body, that Con 5 versus the Crimson Paradise. What do you think of the matchup here?
Yeah, I'm ready to be pleasantly surprised and us just be completely wrong, for one. But
sure, this is all speculation.
But for two, I think it's just... This is going, you can trait dance the cheerleader away, and I think that might be one of the big things that we could see here. Poseidon just becomes like a support beastie, taking that place, but, the trait dance could come up anywhere against this team. You take away, really any of these traits could be incredibly strong, including things like Power Up. But I don't know, I think we trust Charge and we see where it goes. Charge, of course, known for charging whatever trait gets to the most charging, I feel like,
Yeah, very true, very true. It's all about...
why explain complex trait dance when few trait dance you trick? I think it's fine. We'll see a crucial one, and I think we're about ready to kick off these matches for everybody at home, and we'll see if we're right.
Yeah,
as these are
the
teams that both these players are, of course, known for. So we'll see if that is true. It looks like we were partially right. Although
maybe.
this is not a Bolimar team that Bolimar has in this bracket at all. They're running the old Crimson Angels on the team layout right now, just getting ready to select a team. Gotcha.
Yes,
Yeah,
indeed.
I suppose keeping us on our toes here.
Yes. Only one way to find out, and that's by, hitting the patience button, removing all boosts, all deboosts, and preparing yourself to be hit in the face by an unboosted attack. That is when I am most moisturized, most in my lane, most feeling myself. Let's see. I also noticed, by the way, 2 Crimson players here. The double Crimson matchup, I hadn't thought about it before, but KingOfCharge, normally
you're right.
The Crimson Kings, but today, the Crimson Jokers on Charge's Joker arc, and let's see if the Jokers show up. No! Ooh, interesting.
So neither team was the one we were thinking of.
No, we were 100% wrong, yet the double mono mind, well, I guess not mono mind, because LeBron James, just the game, the Havra is here, number 000, an original member of the Crimson Angels now joining this new team against the Crimson Jokers. On serve is Charge. We're going to see that scrimmage. Probably prepared attack to boost up, shore up its defenses, and then dare the opponent to attack into it. I'll be interested to see how Bolimar's team is capable of responding to this overwhelming offense. Ooh, okay.
Yeah, because it's a much slower team.
Sure seems
and
that
the
way.
Excited Pass can get rid of a lot of... the Excited Pass can get rid of a lot of things like, say, Stinger, that could take away all the boosts on the scrimmage. And while it will reduce the damage, the damage that Stinger provides may not quite be enough. Although we are seeing that the tool from Debugly is doing 55, there is a chance that's already a lot, especially at +1. But yeah, this scrimmage runs up. Charge, no fear in his heart. Just going to go for a maximized zigzag here. The Stinger, of course, limiting the damage, as the Excited Pass would give it a +1, but now it is just going to be flat damage. That being said, with this Tactical Pass and this Debugly walking up, I don't know if it survives here. If it gets targeted, it doesn't. Instead, Debug Horsey, the Hydrome, is the one that gets hit first.
Oh my god, I do love this team's naming scheme, by the way. But yes, also importantly there, Scrimmage not able to become jazzed there, which does mean that it cannot ignore Debugley's defense boost from Study off of it receiving that prepared attack in the beginning. So huge heads up to Bolimar going for that stinger there in the beginning to make sure that Scrimmage is not able to pierce the heavens. They're only able to deal 77 to backline Hydrome. This Hydrome over here, sorry, Debug Horsey, that's my bad. I can see how I would be confused with, Debug Cutie, Debug Horsey, and all the other Debug variants on this team.
Debug Ugly? Yeah.
Debug That's very rude of you to say to the beautiful Debug. How could you do this?
Echo Strike, of course, with the trusting going to come out, +2 net to net, although the Weepy not making it boosted at all, which means that Magpike damage actually just did 60 net to net without any boosts, and Magpike's trusting ability going to just give it +2 every time a pass goes into it. This Kaleidarn almost can't be hit under any circumstances, and the Rumpus is ripped off of this Popra. Once again, that trait manipulation that we were talking about Charge being so known for, just being able to take away huge pieces of this healing, click and assess super safely in the back. And if this Kaleidarn gets hit at any point, it's most certainly just 1 point in favor of Charge, so it has to be Magpike. Really good manipulation of the board here, just playing down the line, playing these offense teams the way they're meant to be played.
Absolutely. I will say, if there was ever a turn to attack Kaleidarn, I do believe it would have been there. Kaleidarn unable to boost up the attack of this Magpike right now because of Weepy, cannot benefit from the boost that Trusting gives it. And Trusting, by the way, Trusting Pike, also a huge Charge classic here. One of the only people who believes in this Beastie. Though I will say, Echo Strike on this Trusting Magpike could end up being a really big problem for Charge, I feel, especially given that many of the fielded Beasties on Bolimar's team have access to telekinesis. Debug Ugly coming in and its face just so punchable that Echo Strike, careening over.
Notably, Trusting doesn't work on self-boosting moves. It's only from boosts from your teammates. So it's actually a mood ability on Bolimar's side, which is why Charge is using it to take away everything. So it's really good play. Yeah. And
that makes sense though.
Mm-hmm. Because you have to trust your teammate. You have to trust your teammate to get you the ball.
Can't trust myself.
Stinger, you can't trust yourself.
No one. Not even yourself.
Even as an Esper, you can't trust yourself. Mm-hmm. We're gonna see a tactical pass from both sides here, guaranteeing at least one boost. An Echo Strike from this Maraptor could take away another ability, but Bolimar really in the lead at this point. After just a couple of tools and stingers from this Debugly, getting complete control over this matchup, Debugly's naturally high mind defense and clamor from that Noizard with drums up, just minimizing damage and really putting a stop to Charge's entire plan here.
Indeed. I think
Study goes off with the Debugly, and now nothing on the board can hit it anymore. And Debug Snacky, the Voltoxin, going to be able to run up to the front.
Oof. Offer up some devastating damage here into the front row. I do think Debug Snacky, that is a very cute name.
It's a good one.
Indeed. But yeah, as you said, Debugly here, really good into this team, especially into mono-mine teams in general. So Debugly, I will say, also a Beastie. Speaking of signature Beasties that these coaches are a huge proponent of, Bolimar has been a huge Debugly pro Debugly advocate? ? I don't know if that's quite the way to say that, but Debug actually tagging out.
Yeah, so this scrimmage was actually seeing a knockout on everything with this mimicked freeze ray, I believe. So the only way to survive with this Noizard is to switch it into the back where it survives at exactly 3. Going to be able to guarantee this roll shot now, and this could be the game. In fact, I think it actually is. I think we might be wrapping up game 1 right now. This roll shot, of course, a sideways attack that has to go to the back. Squimmage can walk back to catch it, but it's going to take massive amounts of damage and wipe afterwards. So even if this read is correct, which it is, well played to Charge, it's still going to be incredibly hard to get back into this game. However, Excited Pass, Tactical Pass, Freeze Ray seems to be able to get a knockout on everything, unless I'm mistaken. Of course,
would
the
find it
low
hard
mine
to
defense
believe.
on this Voltoxin. Yeah. I mean, it would be insane if it didn't go down here. 170 from that charge Flatian, just taking a chunk out of Voltoxin, leaving it wiped, having it walk away. But now Bolimar able to reposition given the final point before match point, getting in Debugly, who can stack either way.
Absolutely. I think that, Debugly now showing its value yet again, and all the telekinesis, meaning that it's just impossible to find a good place to hit. In the meanwhile, Charge now probably forced to give up a free ball turn to stay in this game, and unlikely to survive another hit afterwards on any Beastie that comes in. It might be a vicious cycle right here. It's Platian charging up, but I think probably unable to save the team from what's about to happen to it. No telekinesis on Charge's mono mine team, meaning that nothing can come in here and then pass and telekinesis the ball back to itself. One of the benefits of a team like Bolimar's here that utilizes telekinesis instead of the tack pass that's favored by this trusting Magpie team. Yep, guaranteed free ball there. Unfortunate. Hopra comes in. Debug Horsey looking absolutely unbreakable right now, healing 24 every turn, boosting itself up every turn, ego blasting this one slot every turn, and I think Charge just has no recourse as we come into the ending of this game. Yep. Just chooses to go for broke, say, you know what? I don't think I can make this endgame happen anyways. Maybe Bolimar will make a mistake and hit into this open slot collider and give me 8,000 tag passes and I win. Unfortunately for Charge, that did not happen, but it was a valiant effort in that endgame anyways, and a very good set from both players.
Into a... Yeah, I was gonna point out that was a really, really good game and tons of really strong plays with calculated sacrifices despite the speed of it. And speaking of the speed of it, these players are readying almost as fast as they are playing, and we're seeing a complete switch up here with the Divine Feast Heliath coming in to see a serve into the Con5 team. Charge switching it up, bringing something very reliable, but this Sweaty is going to make it so difficult.
Indeed. That boosted Castlete, though, it plays well regardless of the conditions, and Goofster plucky here, notably, meaning that it does so much damage. Notably plucky here, meaning that it cannot become Sweaty, so only Bolimar's team feeling the effects of this heat wave, well, except for Castlete, who, we all know that Castlete plays better with the flu. Perhaps able to net rush forward here, get one more boost, and deal a absolutely catastrophic amount of damage. Let's see it. This overwork, +3 Castlete up in the net. 94, Diggum just barely surviving in the back there.
Nibbles the Diggum taking 94, known as a Beastie, only being able to tank. Really goes to show you the power of this Goofster, who's actually running a set very similar to Charity's of the past, running Confident Pass and Cheer, sort of trying to get those double boosts going. Charity, of course, lost both of its boost passes in the most recent patch, so Goofster serving as a more aggressive way to run the exact same moves, and that Plucky coming in super handy in this Sweaty matchup. Bolimar chooses to shield the Heliath, but too little, too late, as poor Diggum gets wiped. 1 point in favor of Bolimar, and I think this Thump might put Heliath in range of getting wiped to its own Sweaty.
I do believe that's the case. I do believe we're about to see... Oh, never mind. Thump going into the other slot, saying, Heliath, you can have another couple turns. I'm busy wiping out the rest of your team here. That said, Charge's fielded Beasties at the very least, now in a slightly precarious position here. Goofster low on health. Castlete low on health as well. That overwork, those extra hours at the gym, those extra reps finally coming back to bite it. And Bolimar now in a commanding position, fielding both Beasties right to the front. Maybe trying to go for a double block, except that the anger for this bird is simply too angry to block. I'm interested to see why they went for the double forwards here.
I think opting just for the singular block from Bandycraft while allowing Heliath a little more reprieve. Unfortunately, the Sweaty, with 3 ticks of it, is going to put Heliath just within range of this Riplash's Thump, even though it was perfectly fine just a couple of turns ago. The confident pass from the Gooster, of course, just going to make this damage too unsustainable, and we're going to see this launch take out the Heliath. Notably, though, this is where the Heliath wants to be. Same with the Digum. They're both going to be coming back very, very soon. Charge in a commanding lead, but Bolimar could theoretically turn this around if all is well. We'll have to see if those Beasties can come back up. And if so, we might see like a very, very quick reversal as Charge's bench is starting to become very, very damaged.
Yes, it's highly possible. I was going to say, you definitely noting that low bench health from Charge's team, as well as, yeah, here we go, the high damage output of the currently fielded Beasties on Bolimar's team. Oh! Smart.
Oh, that's really good, yeah.
Excellent awareness there from Charge, using Cyclone, sacking the point, Riplash now going down, but coming back with full health later. Noticing that Nibbles was next in line to play on the court. Nibbles, of course, wanted to have its turn to play ball as well with all of the other Beasties. Unfortunately, Nibbles does not know how to do a serve that is better than free ball, and so Nibbles giving the cast lead a bit of a freebie, allowing it to get in here, rush to the front, and deliver a absolutely devastating attack, potentially closing out the game here for Charge. Interested to see where this attack lands. Compass, +2, Castle Lead, Overwork, Thumping. Massive damage here, but for sliding, low diff. Don't even care.
Notably, I think the 65 damage it just took was only 3/4 due to friendship, meaning that Brosleiden could only switch into this because of Nibbles. So shoutouts to friendship. And now Brosleiden can whoosh to the front at 20 health, but 20 health is enough health to take out this Gooster and finally stop the cycle that Charge has been putting out. Notably now, Brosleiden has to take Gooster's place, and something has to take that poor wiped Castellite's place, which is this Supalero who doesn't want to be here right now because it doesn't have any of the boosts that it's known to need and use.
Exactly. Came in here so confident. Unfortunately, the point ended, realized it looked kind of, I was like, wait, no. I look foolish. I just ran onto the court and I missed the ball and my teammate went down. Oh, man. Not feeling so confident anymore, unfortunately. Now Goofster... Oh, I love that walking animation. Silly guy. Goofster coming in. Now, I will say, 2-2. Score's looking really, really close. Charge's team now sort of out of whack here, stuck in an awkward situation. Hyperspike, though, charging up on this Brosleiden, threatening to close out the game if it's allowed to sit on the court for too long, and Bolimar's team looking a little weak in the back here. Whoa, oh, there we go. Here's some trade dance play.
Even more notably, I was about to point out, this is exactly what was going to happen. Yeah. This, of course, is twice over to be able to give Supalero a +1 bonus, which now allows Supalero to run out and high five into that Riplash, who will now be able to deal massive amounts of damage. Most likely Bolimar cannot sustain said damage, so Bolimar has to win this turn if they want to keep in this game. I think demanding set, quick set could get Bandicraft to the front and do enough damage, but it's an incredibly risky play. Captain, of course, does the same. My fault. Tool is going to come out, and Supalero can survive. A dump is a 50-50, as the sideways move would win the game if Bolimar chooses the high five. Or, charge, sorry. 58 damage to the Supalero. Charge calls it correctly, walks up, guaranteeing another turn because of that Supalero's perfect 100 health, surviving both hits. And now this Brosleiden can trait dance confident one final time and rip an incredibly brutal hyperspike that should win Charge the game. Unless the double block hits it.
I don't think anything's double blocking this hyperspike. I don't think any force on Earth. Oof.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, even with the double block, nothing on the board would be able to survive that. 101 damage to Bandicraft, sending it home. We're now 1-1.
Nice and tied up. Charge heard that thing I said earlier about needing to win early and was like, that's my bad. I will just win the second game instead of losing it, which is an excellent adaptation from Charge. Very well played.
Masterful gambit. Masterful gambit.
I will simply confident high five and showing some confidence. Yeah, that team is the one. Makes sense to pull that out in a pinch. I know that Charge really believes in that team and thinks it's very, very strong. So I can see why it came out in that situation.
He's the best with it.
Yeah,
most
definitely.
The progenitor of the team believes it to be broken, and combined with his skill and experience with the team, just able to take games away. Charge, though, feeling comfortable, wanting to switch to the rally team, feeling okay without bringing Com 5 again. Of course, can't. And,
you cannot bring Com 5 again, but...
And now the Crimson Paradise is here, Bolimar's signature, or at least used to be signature, and we're seeing once again this Charlie Alugus that has been so intimidating to Beastieballers everywhere for over a year. Fate beckons and Rise cowards. The dynamic duo dealing 72 damage to this Heliath as early as the first turn, and that shield keeping it safe.
Indeed. Yeah, finding a way to, I will say, how much damage is it going to do in the back if this is daring pass, get rally up? Is that KOing? Is that KOing Charlie in the back? I think it might.
That is plus however 3? Much. Yeah.
Into the shield?
Into the shield instead. I think Charlie might have been taking maybe around 90 or something to not warrant going after it here. And of course, now the Alugus back in the prime position. Not to mention Bolimar always okay with sacrificing this Charlie on this team, wants it back very typically at 100 health. So Charge not playing into that, going for assumedly just switching here, or maybe just blocking with the Hopra and getting greedy. I'm not sure. Once again, a point is possible here. These teams just so explosive.
Very true. Interesting to see the shield from the sidewalk?
The sidewalk.
Shield. All sidewalk. Notably here, rally going up, meaning that Charge is under much less threat. I could see the idea, though, not wanting to let the point go away while rally is still on the field. I think Heliath is the only beastie on Charge's team that can set rally. So choosing to continue to try to fight for the point, especially because of how strong rally teams are on the serve. And knowing this, Bolimar choosing to tag out here, not sacking the point. 94 through Majesty, by the way.
94 through Majesty, but notably blissful end while surviving because of that Majesty. This Yam is still taking 94 damage, which means that Majesty can't be used well anymore if Bolimar wants to keep the point. Charge, of course, most likely has to sacrifice something here, opts to want the Hopper back later on, but the Burnout is going to pick up the Heliath too!
This is looking like a pretty dangerous situation for Charge, perhaps overextending this lead, allowing them to become very low and opening them up to this sort of service sweep. Yep. Burnout now able to fire off again at full power. One of the strengths of Burnout. We were just talking about how Rally has very good serves. Well, Burnout is a very notably good serve itself. This Fetch'em set is very interesting. Very threatening in many different ways, in that it opens up Darediller's ability to get onto the field without interacting with, silly D-boosts like Majesty, which will now take hold of the field.
Oh, you're right.
However, yes, and unable to get jazzed for this, I don't believe. Yep, that makes sense.
Yeah. Notably, Yammoth having no set from its teammates, not able to get rid of the debuff from Burnout. Bolimar opting to sacrifice it by walking it up, as the only way to reset stats is with patience. So Bolimar making a sort of gamble here, thinking that Charge might go after the Yammoth, take the point, and Charge does do so. Bringing the Yammoth back for later, as it's so crucial in this matchup, especially with Majesty and Patience combined, taking away all the boosts that Charge is trying to get.
Yes, I think that makes perfect sense here. I'm honestly surprised that Charge opted to attack that slot. The Majesty, the Yammoth with no... the Yammoth being on the field with double D-boosts from Burnout as well as low health there. I was surprised that Charge didn't opt to hit this cheerily. That said, notable about this new Crimson Paradise team, because there are sort of two cheerleys, as it were, with Goofster, the team is actually perhaps over-indexing on cheerleys occasionally, able to, always able to have a cheerly when it needs one, but if it runs out of the 3 attackers that it does have, it's forced to field Goofster and Cheerily, which perhaps not what it wants to do. Only one way to find out, though. Dodge roll showing its worth here. Fetch'em coming in, getting Jazz, Thrash, able to output an absolutely absurd amount of damage. Castle.
Notably, that was a guess there. I think Bolimar could have won the game if Charge hadn't kept the Fruitfolks in.
It's definitely
and now
possible.
the Castle can shield while the Yammoth gets its health back, giving Bolimar just a few more turns. So it's okay that the guess is wrong in the sense that there are plenty more to get.
Yes, that shield. Charge, reading that, I think that Bolimar, it's one of those shields where you're like, I don't really care what you do here, I'm just gonna... Oh! I think there's only one move that Charge has at this point, and it's to guess correctly on this Daredillo tag-in. Acrobat, save me. I need you now more than ever.
Notably, the Hopra also taking 99 while the Daredillo is taking somewhere upwards of 60. Neither of them going to be able to survive on much health at all. The Yammoth now back up at perfect timing, although maybe not, as a burnout can come in from Daredillo here, and if Bolimar is wrong about what slot that's in, the game is incredibly dicey. However, saving the Castlete, trying to keep that stamina up, probably can bring it back in on a future serve, and the Yammoth is okay to come in on the front row. With Majesty taking only 50 from net to net, you're just seeing the magic of Yammoth here. Bolimar, of course, guessing correctly, and now that burnout with the cheer bonus is taking out everything. And that should be it.
Looking like it. Wow, even Heliath, Heliath and Hopra, by the way, some of the spirit tankiest beasties in the entire game, really not living this tag in the back here.
Without
dodge roll! Whoa!
Oh! The dodge
so
roll
good.
from Daredillo being able to actually hedge both bets here. I completely forgot. Being able to give block to the Yammoth, switching in the Hopra and Heliath, and both of them would survive through the block, and the Fetch'em survives at exactly 1 health, which is just crazy. This happened in the first set on stream as well. The last set we just watched, something survived at 1 HP, and now it's happening again. These games are so thin in their margin of error. Now, notable problem here for Charge is that despite the fact that Castlete coming in here has a low spirit defense, Fetch'em on the serve is not necessarily where you want to be in terms of high damage. Thrash, a very powerful move when it's active, but not putting out burnout numbers on the serve, so Castlete is allowed to come back in, and still signs of life for Bolimar in this very, very close game, choosing to bet it all on this reach shot shield, saving them for 1 turn next turn, but I don't know. It's incredibly tough, but I think the reach shot's super smart here, because even if Heliath catches this, it is now shook and can't attack, and the 2 Sweaty is going to put it into range of another attack, while this shield keeps Castlete perfectly safe.
Exactly. I would say I have to guess that Fetch'em is quick tagging out here. I don't imagine it wants to stay on the field much longer with the whole game on the line. I would have to guess that. Whoa. No quick tag.
Are you seeing what I'm seeing on Bolimar's side?
Am I?
That Yammoth is at 2 wiped, meaning that after this turn it can actually switch in, and the Demolish from Castlete can rip this rally right away. Heliath taking lethal amounts of damage, and so is everything else in the front row. Even if Charge manages to survive, Yammoth can just tag in. It was a complete pin.
Oh man. Really, really well played, really, really well maneuvered by Bolimar. By the way, you know what? I can't believe I didn't mention it. Power up on the Castlete coming into effect in those last turns, I do believe.
You're right. How could I have forgotten the time?
Oh my god, it's always power. Would you look at the time? It's power up a clock. One of the only beasties to maintain that starter trait in this new revised Crimson Paradise, as opposed to the original Crimson Angels. There's so many Crimson teams in this game right now.
The Crimson Jokers, the Crimson Angels, Crimson Paradise. Brosliden looking pretty crimson itself there, and Heliath. But we're once again going to see, now that Bolimar is on match point for themselves here, having to bring back out this feasting team with a bunch of spirit attackers, notably Charge not bringing Rally into this team, opting to switch back to the Mine team, as the incredibly risky nature of bringing Rally into a bunch of spirit attackers who hit this hard is just too much. you really don't want to risk it if you don't have to, meaning that Charge, of course, needing to win this game, but then after this, it's going to look like an uphill battle. Bolimar opting
Very
to
true.
Heat Wave to stop one of these tactical passes, but this is going to give way to a trusting Magpike to just run up and Echo Strike. It might even be seeing a knockout here, I'm not going to lie. That's a lot of damage with the assess.
Oh man, it sure is. I wonder where the attack targets. Only one way to know. I think that if I had to guess, Bolimar choosing to tag out Dugout here because aware that because of shield on Heliath, perhaps believing that Charge will be wary of that shield and attack away, and that does indeed come true. Demanding set available to send this Heliath right to the front row, and this, oh my god, and Charge's entire team to the shadow. The Bolimar Classic. Holy moly, that's a lot of damage.
Why does Bolimar keep doing that while we're here? I can't handle this every time.
Don't call it a comeback. Oh, 115 through the block. Absolutely devastating attacks. Now I really won't call it a comeback. Comeback no longer online and getting normal damage. Heliath, the sort of conditional moves merchant of this game, just cannot be allowed to have a move that always hits at full power.
Notably, opting to come back instead of heat waving, choosing to believe that the Sweaty on Maraptor is enough, going for a little bit of damage, although of course comeback only doing more damage if Bolimar is either behind or even in points. But with this lock target and Rogue, very easily this Bandicraft just goes down. 1-to-1, evened back out. Heliath at pretty decent health though, and of course Mindcraft, the Bandicraft can come back later.
Yes, that is, I will say, notable that, I'm saying notable a lot today. Yeah, everyone, everyone take note of that every time I say notable.
There are a lot of notes to take because Conquest Clash is so quick, and there are so many good teams and smart plays. So I don't blame you. A lot of notes.
Indeed. Yes. And here we see Grit rocketing in 64 to the back. 3 Sweaty.
Hungy, eat!
Hungy, eat, Dugout. Grrr. 64.
Dealing a really good amount of damage to this Maraptor, as now Maraptor itself will wipe to Sweaty, putting it on an 8 wiped timer instead of a 4 wiped one, and making it so that it can't come back very easy. Of course, surviving this turn is easier said than done. Nibbles the Dig'em is debating bringing it in here to survive, but with the boost passes and front row, I don't know if it's going to be enough.
Yeah, I think getting going +2 from that.
So I was talking about the Versliden not being able to survive, but it turns out Dig'em is taking 100 net to net with that Platian. Absolutely not, Charge says. Just no guess at all, guaranteed point. And now Bolimar scrambling, having to bring in this Heliath at really low health. Almost nothing can survive a future turn. Bolimar has to restabilize this somehow.
Yeah. Very interesting. This team from Bolimar really wants to have net positioning and has just really been struggling to get it versus Charge's team here. This turn though, this could be the turn, because now we see oh man, Freeze Ray actually showing its worth here, meaning Quickset can't bring this this Heliath up to the front, but Jazz still perhaps enough. Still 70.
Still 71 from the back to back on this Heliath. Only front row damage, by the way. We only could guess. Schloom only knows how much damage that would do net to net with that Jazz. Divine Feast the Heliath combined with We Eat You Now, the Versliden, being able to get that quick set with the smooth, keeping its health high, and just guaranteeing ever more damage. Charge only able to bring in Squimmage or Kaleidarn to survive the hit here. Has to bring in that Kaleidarn, or Ops to at least. And even though the boost pass will boost the damage of Echo Strike, I think Bolimar has another turn now. Whoa.
Yes, Charge has to make a really close call here. Bandicraft probably able to live this, but both fielded Beasties definitely not able to take this net rush Echo Strike. Goes for the sideways. Cheeky, careful shot to close out the game. Very good. KingOfCharge saying, I am not afraid to click that 10 damage careful shot in the end game. with everything on the line. One, like literally back to the wall, one game away from losing this set against Bolimar goes, yeah, I do that. I click those. I know you're afraid. I know you're afraid of how much damage this Magpike is about to do. And getting right back into the game, oh my god, unfazed are these players.
This is a game 5, of course, meaning that there's only one team left for both players, and they are opting to run right into it. Once again, we are going to see this Heatwave team from Bolimar now against Rally, where I think it shines the greatest, as even though Rally doesn't fit on this tri-typed offense team, Heliath, as we saw with its damage, so much, able to provide infinite amounts of pressure, so Charge might even be scared to click Rally here, and the spirit bulkiness of all of these beasties naturally is going to make that even more of a punishment.
Indeed. I think it'll also be difficult here with funny thing about this team from Bolimar, when on the serve, able to click that heat wave, but maybe struggling to get that front row positioning that Dugout really wants. However, on counter serve, able to get that front row positioning, but maybe struggling to actually activate all of these traits and click that heat wave. 1 damage is not a lot of damage, as it turns out. And when they're firing back pings like this, Bring the Heat, which is currently reading 77. Oh, there it is. Goes to the heat wave. Chooses not to go for the big hit.
Yeah, opting to play it a little bit slower here. Getting the Sweaty, of course, unflappable on Dugout, meaning it's not phased by the damage, but it should be afraid. 100 damage from both beasties here means that there might just be a point. We're going to see a switch to Digum, who could take this or provide enough tank for Heliath, maybe? Yes,
Ooh,
with friendship, Heliath able to survive. The power of friendship. I did see earlier people talking about Rally being the power of friendship, but I hope you see the real power of friendship now.
Exactly.
Quick set,
which means we can
straight
nerf
to the
Rally.
front.
I mean, which means that we can quick set straight to the front and hit comeback.
My lawyer has advised I don't talk about Rally for extended periods of time. We're going to see a comeback from this Heliath, dealing 119. Of course, this Hopper has a shield and a block. Charge opting to block. Now the Hopper will drain to its Sweaty, however.
But
still,
it gets 1 hit in high spirits.
Yes, 1 hit in perfectly placed high spirits, finding a knockout on everything here. Although, that's what it says, but I actually don't know if that's showing us the friendship calculation. Something might... Oh, wait, with the Daring Pass, it won't matter. With the Daring Pass, it will not be affected. And Bolimar... Wait, Bolimar is not opting to get rid of this beastie.
Uh-oh.
Oh, the punishment is here for that. Yep. Charge, of course, the king of greedy plays, or just really strong blocks. And now, calling out the greediness of Bolimar. Bolimar, trying not to take 90 damage on an incoming beastie, has now found them both wiped, and it has to lose a 2nd point in this game 5 scenario. This is really bad.
Oh, and Rousing Strike now active. This serve is being boosted beyond what should be possible perhaps in the game, with Rousing Strike and Rally now available. Everything is falling into place for Charge here, and the bench looks so healthy for Charge. This is looking really hard for Bolimar here. Oh god.
Oh, notably
Hopper
a moment of reprieve as the Hopper does finally wipe.
Indeed, we eat you now. Having some tough decisions to make here.
I don't know about that. I think it just wants to eat everything. It seems like it's pretty adamant on that one. We're going to see an overpower, just taking the guaranteed point here, not opting to catch whatever is switching in, does not want this situation to continue. I cannot blame Bolimar for that. I don't think you would want that. This tool is going to come out. Daredillo only taking 33 because of the reduced mind damage that Rally provides, making it so that Minecraft is really a liability here. And now we're going to see Daring Pass plus Whoosh on this Daredillo. Bolimar not switching the Bandicraft, making a call. But I don't know.
Oh my!
For Slide and Wipes. And that is the set.
My god. So much damage coming out from Charge's Rally team there. Absolutely devastating turn cycles there with that Rousing Strike into double wipe into, oh god, it's just brutal out here. Rally, once the snowball starts, once the fans start cheering, those Rally beasties, those Spirit beasties know how to make it hurt and make every single point count. Whew. And by the way, Charge, both endgames closed out by, careful shot mix-up, are taking the correct read every single time. Charge, absolutely cool as a cucumber under high-stress situations. Definitely, they're back not exactly to the wall in that last game as much as it was in the game before, but man, able to make the call exactly right when it counts. That's what it takes to be a professional Conquest Clasher, and Charge putting on a absolutely brilliant showing in this set.
Right. It was honestly crazy. I didn't even see the careful shot there for a moment, so I completely forgot that was a complete guess for game. Bolimar having to guess blind, of course, Charge informed with so many more reasons to make the decisions that he can, has the advantage in that scenario, and is able to just pick it up with the first play and immediately win the game 1-3, sealing a game 5. Super well played to both players, once again bringing us to game 5, showing you just how close this game can get, especially with those 1 HP survives in a game with such high level players and so much preparation going into this tournament. Every single bit counts here at Conquest Clash. Absolutely. We hope you're enjoying it out there.
I'm sure they are, given how awesome these games are, given how super sick Rally is, how many fans are on the field there up in the Alto Alps where these games are played. And I gotta say, I think that in that endgame there, we see how powerful it is. I was saying, in Conquest Clash as a format, it's really good to be winning early. We saw in that endgame how strong it is to be taking the points, to be dictating the pace of the game with high offense. When Charge, at the beginning of that match, I was like, oh, maybe, Charge might have kept this team in a little bit too long, this lead in. And then, as it turned out, able to come in and double pivot using, Derdillo coming in to take the first hit, or Derdillo coming in into the serve slot as the point was taken, and then able to pivot in the perfect 2 Beasties to close out the game, showcasing how powerful it can be to lose points occasionally. And which is something you get the privilege of doing when you are in the lead, like Charge was in that game, by dictating the pace of it. So I gotta say, very exciting stuff and very well played. Charge eventually, ultimately, coming out on top there. What do you think was the deciding factor in that match, BZ?
The final match or the set in general?
I would say the final. You know what? Yeah, set in general. What do you think?
I feel like set in general, it felt like the fact that the tri-typed offense being split across 3 different teams that all just had an incredible amount of damage each, really showing Charge's prep here very, very good. I thought the matchup would be bad in that final game, but Rally once again showing how much pure Rally can do. Even if you're caught in the mirror, being able to get first blood, being able to get that first hit of 70 damage and force the other player to spiral, it really, really pays in that double offense matchup. And I feel like that was the real deciding factor in most of those games. Whoever managed to hit first just really got a huge lead. But even then, there were reversals here and there. I think the ability to sideways and reset the point was also notable in a few situations, as Charge's teams are very boost heavy, even the Rally one notably having a bunch of daring passes. You can see just constantly the ability to take a point incredibly quickly, or just wipe a Beastie and reset the boosts. Being able to give Bolimar a chance, but that offense is known as offense for a reason. KingOfCharge known for these hyper offense teams with combo heavy defensive plays, taking every advantage to deal as much damage as possible. And when you're running teams that average 100 defenses, it can be incredibly tough to come back from that.
Very true, very true. Perhaps a point in favor of those spikier defensive spreads that I feel like we've been seeing more often as the game has become more developed. Obviously, it's very easy to look at a Beastie and say, like, hey, this is the lowest defense in this guy. We should pump this thing full of points. So it's no longer like, as low as it might be. But when we think more about, certain calcs, like much has been made recently of 125 to live at net, which is the calc for Derdillo +2 is net bonus and 1 boost, burnout, net to net, no block. You need 125 spirit defense to live that on 1, and only a few beasties are actually capable of hitting that benchmark. Hopra being 1, Tord Anchor being 1, I think Heliath being 1, Scaldra, etc., etc. But if your defenses are, just balanced across the board, your Hopra even, like your very, very tanky Spirit Beastie, who you would normally be like, well, of course, this guy will be totally fine into Spirit attacks, can be taking devastating amounts of damage, or perhaps even being unable to tag in or take a hit from these really powerful base power attacks coming off of these really powerful attackers. And I think that we saw maybe the downside of those more even spreads in this game, as opposed to the spikier spreads where you're like, oh, well, my Hopra, I'll allow it to take a little bit more damage from Mind here, invest just 20 into its Mind defense in order to put the 10 into Spirit defense that it would need to live something like a +2 Daredillo burnout. I don't know if we saw that specific attack relevant into that specific beastie in that set. I can't quite recall. But similar situations abound, something tagging into burnout at the front, or something, we saw that Dig'em tagging into a absolutely meaty hit in the front and just barely losing out. It is quite the conundrum when you are put on the back foot into a team that is capable of dealing that much damage. That said, I do believe we are ready to move on after a short break, and so, BZ, do you have any closing thoughts for us about these sets?
I don't know. I feel like both of them have just been so excellent so far. There's so many thoughts, but how can I summarize them all so quick and on such low stamina? I personally am running out of stamina back here in the commentary bench. I don't know about you, your bestie, but I think it's about time we torch pass on out of here and bring it to the next set of commentators.
Feeling a little sweaty. I'm getting dangerously close to 8-wiping over here after all this overwork, so hopefully you enjoyed our 1.3 times commentary multiplier from that, but we are running out over here, and it's time to torch pass out. Thank you, Coolbz, for commentating with me, as always. Thank you to the venue, this lovely Conquest Clash 3, and all of the people organizing it, all the TOs putting in hard work, and all of the players for putting on a great show. I have been your bestie, joined by the ever-enigmatic
Coolbz.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, your bestie, for joining me. I didn't realize you were waiting on me there.
Yeah, honestly, that was me to be. You were like, oh man, I'm running out of energy. And I was like, quick, think fast.
Think fast, boom. I mean, hey, we just watched 4 or 5 games of Beastieball where it was just think fast over and over again. So I really should have realized I need to think faster. That being said, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for sticking with us today. And we'll be seeing you tomorrow for another set. But for now, we're going to pass off the torch. As we already said, I'm ready to click this move. We're running out of time on the turn. You ready? Bye.
I'm ready. Do it.
Do it.